My name is Dr. Guy Meadows, and as I think was just said, I'm a sleep doctor. I've been working in sleep for nearly 19 years now, and at the Sleep School, our mission is to help the world to sleep better, to live better. So the big thing, the theme of what we do is sleep education. How can we help the world to sleep better, to live better? So talking about the past first, how old is sleep? Can anyone tell me? 10 years old? 100 years old? 1,000,000 years old?
Since ever.
Since ever. That's a good way, yeah. Well, what we actually know is if you take species which we know that sleep well or have some form of sleeping pattern, and then we look to how long they've been on the planet, well, the bristle worm has some form of basic sleep-wake cycle, and it's been around for 508 million years. So that's quite old. But then if we take even simpler life forms like bacteria, we can see the very basics of sleep and wake in bacteria. They have a circadian rhythm, and they are 3.5 billion years old. So there is a question, well, did life begin asleep? And actually this is not such a silly question, because life, human life, begins asleep. For the first 6 months that a baby is in the womb, they are completely asleep. And then in the third trimester, the last 3 months, we begin to see small bits of sleep appear. So life begins with sleep. And one of the biggest influences on our sleep is the fact that you all know we live on this planet, planet Earth, that rotates between light and dark. And this has influenced our biology. And it's helped us to create our internal body clock. Or for all species, you can see a circadian rhythm. We see in trees exhibit some form of sleep. Plants, flowers, they close their petals to sleep. But how we sleep really depends on the different species. And what's interesting is we can see many species have evolved on completely different paths, but they all sleep. So it was like sleep was the original building blocks for life. But with the internal body clock, what we are innately hardwired to do is to be active in the day, and to eat and to move and to do lots of cool things and to be here right now. And then in the nighttime, we're designed to rest and repair. We sleep in so many different ways. The brown bat sleeps for 19 hours a day, whereas the giraffe sleeps for 2 hours. And the dolphin sleeps with just half of its brain. Half of its brain asleep and half of its brain awake. And this is what we call hemispheric sleep. Beautiful how one part of the brain can be bathed in delta waves and the other half of the brain can be fully alert, checking out for danger. But then we have species like this little fellow, the white-crowned sparrow, which can do incredible feats of sleep deprivation. When it's doing migration, it can go for weeks without any sleep at all. But then it sleeps normally again. And then of course we have humans, who 80% of us will sleep 7 to 8 hours a night. But some humans have a rare genetic mutation, which means they only need 4 hours. But some individuals need as much as 12, so there's a variation. So if we look to our current sleep, I think it's worth mentioning this German psychiatrist, Hans Berger, because he was the person who invented the EEG, or electroencephalogram. He was the first person to be able to measure the brain's electrical activity. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have done my PhD. I wouldn't have spent years and years sat watching other people's brainwaves in a darkened room whilst they were sleeping. And so it was his work that pioneered sleep science. Because from that we were able to ask the question, well, why do we sleep? Well, we were able to answer the question, why do we sleep? And this famous sleep researcher, Alan Rechtschaffen, he said, if sleep doesn't serve some vital function. It's the biggest mistake evolution ever made. And what he was getting at is that we now know that sleep is the single most powerful health-providing behavior known to humankind. Imagine if I had a pill in my hand, and I told you this pill could make you focused and attentive. This pill could make you motivated. This pill could give you willpower, energy. It could help you be creative, solve problems. Sounds good, doesn't it? Imagine if I told you that this pill could make you happy. It could completely lower your risk of depression and anxiety. Or what if I told you that this pill could keep your heart healthy, could maintain your blood pressure nice and low, could keep you thin, could keep you beautiful? Would you want this pill? Yeah. I think you would. Well, unfortunately, this pill doesn't exist. But sleep does. And sleep does all of those. So now we know it's not what sleep does for us, it's what it doesn't do for us. It is the most incredible process. But unfortunately, there is a war on sleep. And it kind of begun in 1880. Most of you will know Thomas Edison. He was quite arrogant. He said, sleep is a criminal waste of time, and that it's a heritage from our cave days. Well, he was kind of right that it's a very old process, but he was wrong when he said it was a criminal waste of time. But what he did is he gave birth to the global sleepless epidemic, where we now live in a lit-up world. A world where we experience social jet lag. How we move, how we eat, when we eat, etc. So what we have is a daytime where we're eating and moving and exposing ourselves to light, but we also have a nighttime where we're active as well. We're eating late, we're drinking late, we're exposing ourselves to light late, and we are sleeping in, so we're all shift workers now. So we all experience, or many of us experience, social jet lag, so we feel lacking in energy, we feel lack of focus, we feel nausea, we feel we have insomnia because we are confused. And as a result, we are sleeping less. In 1942, we had 8 hours of sleep. In 2016, we're down to 6.4 hours. 20% of the global population now suffer from insomnia. And 45% will suffer from some form of sleep disorder at some point in their lives. So sleeplessness is at epidemic levels now. So how does this look for the future? Well, the good news is I am optimistic. I'm optimistic that we can transform things. We actually just need to become more aware of sleep. We're about understanding why sleep is important in our lives, and we're creating a sleep movement. And so it's about prioritizing sleep. It's about our governments realizing that sleep costs them. In the UK, it costs the UK government 4.5 billion in lost working days, in lost productivity, in poor mental health, poor physical health. And so it's about the government realizing that sleep needs to be a human right, that they need to write into law. Sleep needs to be educated to children in schools. Doctors should prescribe sleep. You should go to the doctor and they could write you a prescription. Yes, get more sleep. In Japan, who are the least sleeping nation, they now have companies which are rewarding their employees for sleeping more. But families need to become, parents need to become sleep role models, sleep champions to educate their children. And we as individuals, we need to take sleep seriously. We need to make sleep a priority. And so my question to leave you on for you guys is, I guess the most important thing is that the sleepless epidemic is 100% reversible through our behavior. That's why I'm optimistic that we can do something about this. What will you do today to improve your sleep tonight? And take one thing away to improve your sleep tonight. Thank you.